I can't tell if that's a long or a short. Airlines. DAL good. I know. So I know, frankly, I mean, one more push down kind of looks more long than short, Mark. Or Johnny. We got two levels of support right there. Good morning, everybody. What's going on? Cool. All right, let's take a look at the general market, see what's going on. So we had stimulus news around yesterday afternoon. It looked like the market was holding up into the close. Now we've kind of gapped down a little bit at like 0.3%. A flat open is probably better than, I would go with the flat open. It's going to be a little bit better than, just having a monster gap up today. If we had a big gap up off, we can call that stimulus. And we can get a fake. If we got too big of a gap up, we would have been stuck all day. This is going to give us a little bit more options. Frankly, the market's right on a sweet spot of support here. If we lose it, then we're going to probably drift back a little bit. But I wouldn't be surprised this gap down to just go red to green. So there's kind of two aspects to play on it. If we go red to green, you want to watch yesterday's highs. Yesterday's highs into the close. If we do that, then, the race is on. But frankly, if we stay down red and we lose this 20 SMA over here, which is like about 258, then we'll probably, start to drift our way back down. Usually if you can't pump, like, usually when you get these kind of stimulus news, like if you can't get a good solid pump out of those things, they just then we might be running out of gas in the market, at least on a short-term basis. Markets don't always go up forever. We'll see what happens. So we watch that sweet spot, that 20 SMA, or if we break over the highs. Till we do that, you may just want to just sit around for a second and see what's going on. Otherwise, there's more than enough stocks to play. It looks like there's a whole bonanza of kind of small caps that are running, and then, it looks like there's some regular stocks that are kind of going too. So you can see probably you're seeing, some of this junk going, Kodak. So this is obviously, these guys know how to pump their stock. So, a couple years ago, Kodak went from making, they did the fucking cameras to like they were doing like Bitcoin stuff, or that was the PR, and then now they've gone probably from Bitcoin stuff to probably they're hopping on, some type of COVID bandwagon or whatever. But they got a nice pump on this. The market cap is really small on this, so you got some range. If you dump off at the open, probably you'll get a play on this one. That's just what the market's giving us. I won't be playing any of this. But you do have some nice breakouts. Even Fran is the one that you got a nice breakout. And now Fran almost always rolls over. You can see like last time, like it completely gave up the whole gap, and it's done that a lot. The previous time it gapped up 760, gave it back up by the end of the day, and we've seen it like a million times. So you know how the story ends right now. You may get one hot play on this at the open, and then you'll have to see like what's going on. This SPPI's always been a turd. You can see this thing's got a gap up. If this thing gets real parabolic today, that's probably easier. That's probably easy to borrow because the float out, it's 112 million. It's probably easy to borrow. Probably you get a good one out of this bad boy. Let this thing push at the open. I think you get a nice short on this one, and it's easy to borrow. But you'll have to let it really set up. It's just it's up only 50% right now. Tear up, junk. Let me know if you guys see any good gappers. It is earnings season, but this earnings season has been a little bit of a nothing burger. You're not seeing necessarily like the crazy heat like you normally would. Like last earnings season, we got some real good stocks pop up. We're just in the beginning of earnings season, but still. Sohu. Yeah, so you can see like this one's got a PR out. Junk. Sogu shares jump 46%. And it's an acquisition. No good. Now check this out. So this is AMKR. So AMKR. AMKR, you've got, you had earnings come out into the post over here. You're really busting out to all-time highs on this. If you look here at like the daily chart, you've got a big spot over here at 15. Now this is like, this can be pretty clean. So when you get a stock that's in the right sector, so this is a semiconductor sector, and then you have a breakout to like all-time highs, and it's based on some fundamental catalysts like earnings. This is a stock that can hold up. I think the plan on this one we should go with, I'm adding this to the gapper list. If it holds that 15 zone at the open, I think we roll in with the hot one on that bad boy. This one's got, it's only a $3 billion company, so it's mid cap. It's not necessarily a small cap. But the float on this looks like it's fairly small. Let's see if we can get a little push on that one. Add that to the list. We'll look at that for an ORB. Convo system posts higher fiscal results, beats forecast, blah, 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 blah. Like something like this too may have a chance. This is in software application. Like that ends up being like, a decent one. I'd probably add that to the list. If the liquidity comes in, there's only 10,000 shares in volume right now. TCOM, so this is trip.com. Now this is a nice remount of the, you got a remount of the 200 SMA over here. Probably, I think this one could have a chance here. I've actually never traded this bad boy. See if it's any good. Let's see. The liquidity is normally okay. It does about 4 or 5 million shares a day. I'd add this one in for now. You've got a clean break of range. And when you think about like stocks that have earnings out or like stocks that are starting to move out of longer term basis, ones that are like neglected, that haven't participated in this market run up, that comes in with like a good earnings spot, like that usually ends up being good. Junk. All right, let's see on the other side. Junk. Yeah, this earnings season's been bullshit. There hasn't been really any heat yet. Small caps, junk. Hold on here. Let's finish this list out. Yeah, I don't see anything that juicy on the downside. Am I missing something? Let me know if I'm missing something to the downside. All right, so let's take a look. We've got gold has been really rocking. Now the issue with gold is I missed the fucking short. I stayed up late for it, and in the futures market, I stayed up late for it. But man, when it started to roll over, I was already asleep. I think it started to roll over. Let's see this thing. What time did it start to roll? Man, fuckers. Yeah, it was late. So if you guys, some of you guys probably trade futures or micro futures, but much easier. The micro future gold ones work well. You only need like $500 in your account to trade these bad boys, but you got a nice dump on this thing, into the club. Man, you had a nice little dump on this into the. Man, that's late night though, ain't it? Yeah, it looks like it got up to 974. That's pretty good. So gold is going to be in play today. Reason is if you go back to 2011 when gold made its high, you've run right into this resistance. So at least for a period of a day or two, this is a weekly chart. You got a 90 stochastics, you're outside the upper Bollinger Band, and now this is essentially, like a indecision candle. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing try to go red to green today and then do a failure. What I mean by that is like sometimes when there's a short, this is like a classic, short setup. Sometimes when there's a short, like for example, we trade this Donkey Kong, right? Sometimes when a stock has news out or it's due for a short, it'll dump off at the open and everybody be like, oh, it's dumping off. and then it'll start to cruise back, and like it'll even go red to green. And what that usually does is it just sucks in some buyers, and then the rug gets pulled, and the rug gets pulled. And that's the kind of play we want to see on gold today. So you got the gap down. Let this thing kind of push up and get that's bad. Nice. Get a nice kind of push into this, and if it does, then we'll short this JNUG. You can see this thing was like 182 in the after hours. It's down already like 13 points. But if this thing pops up into like this range over here, we'll take this thing down. Let it go red to green and fail, and that's when we want to take it. Even if you got a small account on this, if you're just rolling like 100 shares or something like that, you can still have some really, really good range. Like I like that one. That's going to be our main focus today. Silver also with bananas in the after hours. Now you've gapped out, and it gapped down a decent amount, so that takes some of the range out. Only way I'd be really interested in, silver, and it'd only be on the micro futures. So like the ticker on the silver micro futures is SIL. You can see here, the dump happened like 3 a.m. So you guys over in England, you're having all the fun, right? Dump happened like 3 a.m. Man, that's incredible. It's very, very clean. So it doesn't look like much, but when you're doing futures trading, like it's every, penny of this is making you chatter because it's a leveraged instrument. For a commodity, that's the way it goes. They can really, really pay even if it's like a 1% move, and those kind of names, you'll have some chance. Any of you guys got smaller accounts like these kind of micro futures and stuff like that? There's no PDT in them. There's no pattern day trade rule in them, and there's leverage in them. So you can, you can rip like So like for example, like a Nasdaq contract on which is like the QQQ, it costs like $1,500 on Thinkorswim, and for every 100 points, the Nasdaq moves around 200, 300 points a day. For every 100 points it moves, you get $250. So you trade that thing around back and forth, even one contract. If you got a smaller account, get used to trading the market is a good way to just start off, when you're new, because even if you use like say a 5-point stop loss, you'd only be risking $10. Gold, silver, add those to the list. Now let's go in order of what I like. All right, Roku. Hold on here. So let me take this off. There. Take this data off for a hot second, and you can see like you've got a really kind of nice level that's starting to build out here, and you've got a good level of support down here, and then you have your 9 EMA under. So I'm thinking like any kind of dips on Roku, any red to green action, anything like that, this one is going to be, this thing is hot to trot, especially if it gets over 159. I think that one's going to be pretty good. Frankly, it looks like a swing trade, but it's also being a good day trader. So after JNUG, Roku's number 2. Number 3, we had a big day in FMCI yesterday. It popped hard into the close. So when something does like something, first of all, it was just farting around all day, and it double bottomed 1372, and then you popped hard into close. Man, how do we miss that into close? That's hot. This one's been left for dead. So there was some news out yesterday. Essentially, they pre-announced their earnings. Their earnings are going to be out at 8-5. They've pre-announced their earnings saying, revenue growth or earnings growth is going to be up 98% or something like that. That's a nice buzzword, whether it really is true or not. That's a nice buzzword. I definitely add that to the list. So that's number 2. Number 3, you got a nice spot on Peloton. You got a flag pattern over here. You got 2 moving averages curling up underneath the kitchen on this bad boy. This has also been a market leader of the last, this thing's going on for $18 to $64, and it still moves pretty well. It's liquid. It can move well. Add that for number 3. Yes, I've never heard of Tattooed Chef, but, you know, I know they do the vegan meats or whatever. GSX. Got a big breakout over here. Yeah, see this 90 spot? If it can bust over this, you've got yourself a nice level in this. Number one, this education companies have been the hottest companies of the last 3-4 months. You had a big day yesterday, which is okay. A week open on this 2.5% down, perfect. When you have like a big day on a stock, ideally the next day, like a week open versus like some monster cock gap, gives you a little bit more room to play with. So I want to add that into the list. I like that one a lot. Good. And then we'll go into a couple, like I got a couple over here that, frankly, they look like more like trend plays. If you like a little something, this SWBI. So this is Smith & Wesson. What do? They make those Glocks? Smith & Wesson. Colt 45s? Shit. These things, people are buying guns right now, it looks like. You got 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests. Finally broke over yesterday. You got nice kind of curls for the girls under it. Watch any kind of tap back on this. Any kind of tap back on this, I think you'll get, hey, Jason, how are you? TJ, what's up? Yeah, any kind of tap back on this, like, you'll be good to go. You know, let's see if it holds this 24 spot. If it does, we are good to go. That's my list. I'm sticking to it. I got a couple other kind of, I would say these are more, I'm watching this one for a swing. This is Survey Monkey. Survey Monkey held its 50 SMA, remounted the 9 and 20. I've got this on watch for potential swing trade. I like this kind of stock for swings. It's at a nice price range. It's not too wild where you got to like babysit it. You know, so I could go out, do my day trades, do my thing. You know, if this thing breaks this trend line over here, you can see this is an all-time highs. All-time guys stocks that are like recent IPOs. It's a 2018 company. When they come out of these patterns, and you have patterns that are confirming on multiple time frames. So you have here a flag pattern on your weekly chart with a 9 EMA under it. You've got a nice kind of breakout pattern here on the daily. To me, like this thing, this is like your classic swing trade. Like if it breaks, you know, this is something you probably hold for a couple weeks. When they go, they really go. Donkey Kong probably, we'll see how this plays out. You know, those Miami Marlins players really got those sports companies all up in how funny is that, man? Baseball season just started, and these guys are like, "Hey, man, you can probably tell because they're all kids, right? They probably got those first paychecks, and they're like, man, we should hit that club." Oh man, God bless America. All right, let's talk about these virus stocks for a sec. mRNA was, you know, in range all day. It's only worth a trade if it kind of takes out yesterday's highs. Otherwise, for all we know, this is a lower high. INO, it's gapping down about 4%. This one, if it hits 1940, 1950, you know, pretty close, like we're gonna have ourselves a little bit of a pizza party. And then, you know, NVAX is still holding up too. We'll see. My gut feeling on this one is, unless it breaks 150, like it's setting up for a rollover, but we don't have any short-term price action to confirm that. Good. That's the list. I'm sticking to it. Donkey Kong, I think the easy short is over. You know, we were short these names yesterday. We caught an epic one in Penn for, you know, just like I only need to hold it for like an hour. I don't know if they're short still because they're sitting on support now. So I do think, I I do think that they're probably on support. Probably the easy play is over. Hey, Trickler, there's no easy way. Like, I mean, this is like a job, so if you want to figure out how to enter an option, spend 6 months learning it. You can email me if you have any questions on it, but it's not, if anybody tells you there's like a one-word answer for it, they are lying. They lie. This is a job, probably takes 6 months, 1 year, just to kind of figure out the mechanics of it. I wish it wasn't that way. Good, this is the list, I'm sticking to it. Yeehaw. Alright, cool. Guys, let's go do what we do. Let's make sure we try to get out at an appropriate time. We probably stayed a little bit too long yesterday. Mr. Lopez, ABS. ABS has a big, what's it called? ABUS has a big ATM on it. Any pop on that thing, they're gonna sell that. They're gonna sell into that. Any pop on ABUS, they're gonna sell into that. They got a monster cock ATM. I think it was like 70 million shares, some shit like that. There we go. FMCI also top of the list. Hey, cool, Trickler. I got a kid in my chat room, CJ, who's really smart. He's 17, and he's doing what he got to do. It's a good time to learn, Trickler. Yeah, email me if you got any questions. All right, I gotta go. It's time to start trading. Let's do this.